There comes a moment in every person's life when they stand face to face with themselves. Not the version they show the world, not the one they pretend to be, but the quiet, honest self that asks the hardest questions. Am I really willing to do what success demands of me? That question alone separates the dreamers from the doers, the hopeful from the committed. It's not talent that defines your destiny. It's not luck, education, or who you know. It's a single decision. The decision to keep moving forward when comfort calls your name. You see, most people never fail because they never really begin. They dabble. They test the waters. They wait for motivation to arrive like a spark. But success doesn't come to the ones who wait. It reveals itself to the ones who endure. You'll know you're meant to succeed not when life feels easy, but when it feels impossible and you still refuse to stop. When your dreams feel too far, your energy is gone, and yet something deep inside you whispers, keep going. That's not weakness. That's the fire that forges greatness. Success isn't a destination. It's a test. A long, silent test to see how much you can take before you quit. Every challenge you face, every rejection, every sleepless night, is life asking you, do you still want this? And if your answer remains yes, no matter the pain, no matter the time, then you are meant to succeed. Because success isn't something you chase, it's something you become. There comes a point in every person's life when the noise of the world quiets down just enough for a single question to echo in the mind. Am I truly meant to succeed? It's not a question that arises when things are going well, when opportunities are plenty, or when life is convenient. It comes when everything feels uncertain, when doubt creeps in, when the weight of failure feels heavier than hope. In that moment, what you choose to believe about yourself defines everything that follows. You'll know if you're meant to succeed not by how confident you are when things are easy, but by how calm and steady you remain when everything seems to be falling apart. True success is born in silence and solitude, in the unseen hours when you decide to keep moving forward despite the lack of applause, recognition, or assurance. Most people never discover their capacity for greatness because they never allow themselves to be tested by difficulty. They interpret resistance as a sign to stop rather than as a signal to grow. Yet it is through resistance that strength is built. The individual who succeeds is not necessarily the smartest, the most gifted, or the most connected, but the one who refuses to let obstacles determine their worth. Each time you're tempted to quit, life is presenting you with an opportunity to prove that you are stronger than your circumstances. Each setback asks you a simple question: how much do you really want this? The answer cannot be spoken. It can only be lived through action, through persistence, through the quiet discipline of continuing forward when no one is watching. The journey toward success is less about external achievement and more about internal transformation. It's the refining of your spirit, the sharpening of your focus, and the strengthening of your will. You'll know you're meant to succeed when you stop seeking shortcuts and start embracing the process. When you no longer crave comfort but crave progress. When you choose to learn from failure instead of running from it. Every person who has ever accomplished something meaningful has walked through moments of complete uncertainty. They doubted, they questioned, they fell, yet they stood up one more time and they fell down. That's the secret test of success, how many times you are willing to rise when everything in you screams to stop. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who don't is rarely intelligence or luck. It's the decision to keep showing up. Success comes to the one who persists with quiet conviction long after enthusiasm fades. It's not found in bursts of inspiration, but in the steady rhythm of daily effort. You will know you are meant to succeed when you find peace in persistence, when you are no longer chasing results but embodying the discipline that creates them. The path will not always be clear. The rewards will not come quickly, but those who endure with purpose eventually discover that success was never something outside of them. It was something being shaped within them all along. When you face the moments that test your faith, remember that the test is not meant to break you but to reveal you. Every challenge strips away what is weak, temporary, and false until only the truth remains, the truth of who you are and what you are capable of. You will feel alone, misunderstood, exhausted, and yet if something inside of you continues to push forward, that is the signal that you are meant to succeed. It is not the loud victories that define destiny, but the quiet decisions made in darkness, the willingness to persist without praise, and to believe without evidence, and to move forward without guarantees is the truest mark of one who is destined to rise. Commitment is the invisible line that separates those who wish from those who will. It's the quiet promise made to oneself long before the results appear, the kind of promise that doesn't need to be spoken because it's written in your actions. Talent can give you a head start, opportunity can open doors, and intelligence can help you make smart decisions. But without commitment, all of it eventually fades. Commitment is what keeps a person moving when inspiration runs dry. It's the fuel that doesn't depend on mood, the energy that rises when every reason to stop seems justified. The truth is, success is not about how capable you are when things go well, but how devoted you remain when everything feels uncertain. Most people overestimate the power of motivation and underestimate the power of commitment. Motivation is a feeling, commitment is a decision. Motivation asks, do I feel like doing this today? Commitment says, it doesn't matter how I feel, I do it anyway. The ones who succeed are rarely those who feel inspired every morning. They are the ones who show up even when they don't want to. They understand that the world rewards consistency, not convenience. Each day you remain true to your goals, especially when no one sees you. You're strengthening the foundation upon which success is built. The mind begins to recognize that quitting is no longer an option, that effort is not negotiable, that your word to yourself carries more weight than any external encouragement. There comes a time when every person pursuing something meaningful faces fatigue, doubt, and frustration. The path feels endless and progress seems invisible. This is where commitment begins to show its true value. Those who rely solely on excitement will walk away. Those who rely on commitment will dig deeper. They will push past resistance, not because they feel powerful, but because they have made a promise to themselves that cannot be broken. Every time you honor that promise, even in small ways, you reshape your identity. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start, who endures hardship without complaint, who stands by their vision even when the world turns silent. Commitment doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through small, repeated choices. It's waking up earlier to work on a dream when no one else believes in it. It's saying no to distractions, no to excuses, no to the comfortable path that leads nowhere. The more you commit, the more disciplined you become, and discipline is the quiet companion of all great success. It transforms chaos into order, ambition into action, and dreams into results. People often look at those who achieve remarkable things and think they are gifted or lucky. But what they're really seeing is the long shadow of commitment stretching over years of unseen effort. Every test, every obstacle, and every delay is life's way of asking, how serious are you about this? Most people answer with their words, the successful answer with their persistence. Commitment is not proven when things are easy. It's revealed when things are hard. It's not about how loudly you declare your goals. It's about how quietly you work on them after the excitement has faded. Each challenge is not a barrier but an invitation to deepen your dedication. The longer you hold steady, the stronger your resolve becomes. Success doesn't demand perfection, it demands endurance. Those who stay committed even when their strength wavers will eventually outlast everyone who depended only on motivation. You will know you are on the path meant for you when commitment feels like second nature, when you no longer negotiate with yourself about effort or consistency. The results may come slowly, but they come inevitably to those who refuse to stop showing up. Commitment is the bridge between desire and achievement, between vision and reality. Once you decide that quitting is not an option, every failure becomes feedback, every delay becomes preparation. And every struggle becomes part of the story that shapes the person you are becoming. Endurance is the quiet strength that separates those who wish for success from those who are shaped by it. It is not the absence of pain or struggle, but the decision to keep moving despite them. Most people misunderstand endurance. They think it means holding on with gritted teeth, surviving until circumstances change. But true endurance is much deeper. It's a mindset, a quiet defiance that refuses to yield no matter how long the road becomes. It's the realization that success is not a race against others, but a long journey of mastering oneself. The person who endures learns to turn frustration into focus, pain into patience, and difficulty into direction. When you begin a journey toward any worthy goal, the excitement is high, the vision is clear, and the energy feels endless. But that phase never lasts. Eventually, you meet the grind, the stretch of days where progress feels invisible, and motivation fades into routine. This is the space where most people quit, not because they can't go further, but because they expected the path to be easier. Endurance doesn't eliminate the struggle, it redefines it. It teaches you that persistence through the unseen days is the very foundation of success. Every day you continue when you feel like stopping. You train the mind to serve the mission rather than the mood. Each moment of perseverance builds resilience like unseen layers of steel forming beneath the surface. The truth is, life will test your endurance in ways you don't expect. It will challenge your patience, your faith, and your self-belief. There will be seasons where nothing seems to work, when your best effort yields no result, when the temptation to give up whispers louder than your will to continue. But these moments are not signs of failure, they are signs of transformation. The person you are becoming needs these trials to grow strong enough to handle what success will later demand. Endurance is not simply about surviving hardship. It's about being refined by it. The longer you stay the course, the clearer your focus becomes, the quieter your doubts grow, and the stronger your resolve stands. Those who achieve great things are rarely those who never struggle. They are the ones who learn to endure longer than others could tolerate. They discovered that pain, boredom, and uncertainty are not signals to stop, but signals to push deeper. The mind that endures learns to operate without immediate rewards. It stops needing validation and begins to draw energy from discipline alone. Endurance gives birth to mastery, and mastery cannot exist without repetition, patience, and the willingness to do the same thing again, and again with a little more precision each time. The world admires the final victory, but rarely sees the countless quiet moments that built it, the silent hours of continued effort that no one applauded. Endurance transforms the way you see time. When you stop expecting quick results, you start embracing the process itself. You no longer rush toward success, you become success in motion. You learn to appreciate small progress, to value consistency over intensity, and to trust that steady movement forward, however slow, is infinitely more powerful than bursts of temporary effort. Endurance gives you a kind of strength that cannot be shaken by delay or disappointment. It teaches you that waiting is not wasting when you are still working. The person who endures learns that growth happens in the background while they continue to move forward through uncertainty. Every challenge, every delay, every detour builds something inside you that cannot be taken away. Endurance is proof of your seriousness, the living evidence that you are willing to pay the price success demands. It turns every hardship into preparation and every trial into training. You begin to see obstacles not as walls but as mirrors reflecting your own resilience. And the more you endure, the more unstoppable you become. The day you realize that no setback can make you quit, no rejection can break your spirit, and no delay can make you turn back, you'll understand that endurance is not just part of success. It is the essence of it. Most people fail not because they are incapable, but because they never truly start. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, or the perfect plan before taking the first step, and in doing so, they let time slip away. They imagine success as something that requires a grand beginning, yet the truth is that every great achievement begins quietly, often in uncertainty and discomfort. The person who succeeds is not the one who waits for confidence, but the one who moves despite the absence of it. They understand that clarity comes through action, not before it. Every step forward, no matter how unsure, begins to carve a path where none existed before. Waiting for certainty is the greatest illusion because certainty never arrives until you begin moving. The world is filled with people who dream of doing something great, but never move beyond the thought of it. They talk about their goals, they plan for them, they research endlessly, and yet they remain stuck in the same place because they fear the unknown. They want guarantees, assurances that their efforts will not be wasted, but life offers no such promises. The only way to find out what you are capable of is to act. The first step is often the hardest, not because it requires great effort, but because it requires courage, the courage to move without knowing the outcome. Every dream left unacted upon begins to decay in the mind until it becomes nothing more than regret. Action has a strange power to separate the committed from the curious. Once you begin, once you put effort into motion, you start to realize that momentum is stronger than fear. With every small victory, confidence begins to replace hesitation. The mind starts to see progress where there was once only doubt. The key is not to wait until you feel ready, but to begin so that readiness can grow within you. Those who act even imperfectly learn and adapt faster than those who plan endlessly. They discover that mistakes are not failures but teachers, that setbacks are not signals to stop but invitations to adjust. Every movement forward, however clumsy, teaches you something that stillness never can. Success rarely comes to those who overthink it. It comes to those who begin, adjust, and persist. The act of starting creates energy. It wakes up creativity, determination, and resilience. The longer you hesitate, the heavier the weight of inaction becomes. Fear grows in stillness. Doubt feeds on delay. But once you start, the mind begins to cooperate with your will instead of resisting it. You learn that movement itself is clarity. The fog that seemed so thick before suddenly begins to lift as you take steps toward your goal. You may not see the entire path, but the next step always becomes visible once you move. Every great success story shares the same truth. Someone decided to begin when the conditions weren't ideal. They didn't have everything figured out. They didn't feel completely ready. But they trusted that progress would come through persistence, not perfection. The courage to begin is what separates those who achieve from those who wish. Even the smallest effort, taken consistently, multiplies over time into something extraordinary. The secret is not in knowing everything before you start, but in trusting that you will learn everything you need as you go. The tragedy is that many people live their whole lives waiting for permission to begin. They think they need the right opportunity, the right timing, or someone's approval before they can start chasing what they want. But the truth is, you give yourself permission the moment you take action. No one can hand you the life you dream of. It's something you build one decision at a time. Each day you delay, your dream moves one step further away. Each day you take action, no matter how small, you close the distance between where you are and where you want to be. The moment you start, you separate yourself from the crowd that only talks, only dreams, and only plans. Every challenge you face is not there to stop you, but to question how deeply you want what you claim to desire. Life has a way of testing the sincerity of your intentions. It doesn't hand out rewards for wishful thinking. It measures how much persistence you can show when the path becomes steep. Each obstacle, each delay, each rejection serves as a mirror reflecting your inner strength and level of commitment. When things become difficult, most people interpret it as a sign to turn back. They believe the struggle means they are on the wrong path, but often it means they are getting closer to something meaningful. The universe doesn't test those who aren't serious. It only challenges the ones with potential to rise. Every time you encounter a barrier, a question is being asked, do you still want this? The answer is never found in words but in your actions. When you keep showing up despite disappointment, when you continue to move even with uncertainty pressing on your shoulders, you are answering that question louder than any declaration could. Success does not come to those who avoid hardship, but to those who grow through it. Challenges refine you. They carve away weakness, impatience, and doubt until only resilience remains. The struggle you are facing today is not punishment, but preparation, a process that shapes you into the person capable of holding what you've been working for. There's a certain wisdom hidden in difficulty. Every failure brings a lesson. Every setback reveals something about your endurance. Most people run from pain, but pain is often the greatest teacher. It shows you what still needs strengthening. It reveals what part of your character must evolve. The person who learns to see obstacles as opportunities becomes unstoppable. While others waste energy complaining or feeling defeated, those who understand the purpose of challenges use them as stepping stones. They realize that every test is temporary, but the growth it creates is permanent. Each time you push through resistance, you become a little tougher, a little sharper, a little wiser than before. The truth is that success is not about avoiding difficulty, but embracing it. It's about learning to thrive under pressure, to find calm inside chaos, and to move forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Challenges are not there to block your path, they are the path. Without them, there is no strength to gain, no endurance to build, no wisdom to earn. Every successful person has been shaped by the weight of their struggles. They learned to carry it until it made them stronger. They discovered that the pain of discipline, of effort, of failure is far lighter than the pain of regret. When you begin to see obstacles as proof that you are moving in the right direction, something shifts inside you. You stop fearing difficulty and start respecting it. You understand that every great vision will be tested not to destroy you, but to determine your readiness. Each challenge refines your purpose, strips away distraction, and forces you to focus on what truly matters. Without these tests, dreams would remain fantasies because ease never builds endurance. The harder the struggle, the more meaningful the victory becomes. Every test demands the same question. How bad do you want it? When you can answer with action instead of excuses, with persistence instead of frustration, you begin to separate yourself from the majority. You stop being someone who only dreams and become someone who endures. The road to success is filled with resistance because it is designed to filter out the half-hearted. The struggle is not there to defeat you, but to define you. And the moment you stop running from challenges and start meeting them head on, you transform every obstacle into evidence that you were built to overcome. Success is not something you find. It's something you grow into. It's not a treasure buried somewhere, waiting to be discovered, but a reflection of the person you become along the way. People often chase success as if it's an external prize, something to be caught or claimed. But the truth is that real success begins within. It's an internal transformation that happens quietly, day by day as you learn, struggle, and persist. You don't achieve success by reaching for it. You attract it by becoming the kind of person capable of holding it. The process is not about accumulation, but evolution, evolving your thoughts, your habits, your discipline, and your mindset until success has no choice but to find you. Every person who has accomplished something extraordinary has gone through this transformation. They began with uncertainty, fear, and doubt, just like everyone else, but they refused to let those feelings define their actions. They understood that to achieve something great, they first had to become someone great. This kind of growth doesn't happen through comfort. It happens through discipline, patience, and relentless effort. You begin to realize that success is not an event, it's a state of being. It's what happens when who you are finally aligns with what you seek. You stop chasing outcomes and start building character. You stop worrying about how long it takes and focus instead on how deeply you're growing through the process. The world often celebrates results, but results are just reflections of inner development. What you see externally is a product of what was cultivated internally over time. If you want more success, you must demand more from yourself. If you want bigger opportunities, you must expand your capacity to handle them. Success doesn't come to those who want it the most. It comes to those who are prepared for it. Every challenge, every setback, and every delay is simply a tool shaping you into the kind of person who can sustain what you're asking for. The reason many people lose what they achieve is that they grow externally faster than they grow internally. The foundation wasn't built strong enough to hold the weight of the reward. Becoming the person who can truly handle success means embracing growth in its rawest form. It means holding yourself accountable when no one is watching. It means training your mind to stay steady in chaos and humble in victory. You start realizing that the journey is not just about acquiring skills or reaching milestones, but about mastering yourself. The real victory is not in the outcome, but in the transformation that occurs on the way there. You become stronger, wiser, more patient, and more resilient. You learn that true power is quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in self-awareness and earned through effort. When you stop fixating on the results and start focusing on the person you're becoming, something shifts. The anxiety of comparison fades because your only competition is the person you were yesterday. You begin to find fulfillment not just in achieving, but in progressing. The process becomes the reward because you see how each struggle, each challenge, and each moment of doubt has sculpted you into someone more capable. Success begins to feel less like something distant and more like something inevitable because it's no longer about luck. It's about alignment between who you are and what you desire. In the end, the people who rise to the top are not the ones who chase shortcuts or chase recognition, but those who understand that success is a mirror. It reflects your discipline, your patience, your consistency, and your willingness to grow. The more you work on yourself, the clearer that reflection becomes. You start to see that everything you've been seeking was never out there waiting to be found. It was waiting within you, waiting for you to become the person strong enough, wise enough, and committed enough to claim it.